study visa in Italy. And hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tessie. You're welcome. Please subscribe before leaving. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what people don't say, what a lot of influencers that are talking about study visa in Italy, all of that part of Europe. I'm not telling you, this is something that is very, very important. And this is the reason why a lot of people find themselves stranded in a country after study. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys the few things you need to put into consideration before applying for a study visa, before coming or before going to that country. Disclaimer, I'm not saying you should not travel abroad to study. I'm not saying you shouldn't come. I'm not saying you shouldn't apply for the visa, but these are the things that you need to put in mind before embarking on your journey. Is study visa is something that everybody gets excited in getting, and I'm so happy for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have been through that here in Europe, in Nigeria, and I'm talking about Nigeria because I'm a Nigerian. Okay, so disclaimer: I'm not saying you shouldn't get it, you shouldn't apply for it, you shouldn't consider it, or all of that. So one of the things to consider is after the study, what is going to be your plan? Let's say your study program is 2 years, 3 years. If you come to do your masters, most of them are 2 years. After 2 years, what are your plans if you don't get a job that will retain you in the country? If you don't want to go back to the country where you are coming from, like I'm using Nigeria, I'm going to be using Nigeria as an example because I'm in Nigeria. Maybe you're in Nigeria and you want to study in Italy and you've made all your documents and you've submitted every form. What is the next step? For you to not to be stranded when you finally got your study visa and moved to this country, you need to plan your next step while back home, because if you don't plan your next step, you end up being stranded. You will end up being stranded in the country if you don't want to go back to Nigeria after your study. So before you even carry your bags, while you are applying for your visa, while you're picking up your document to apply for study visa, please, 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 please make your plans. Get a plan B aside, okay, so as you don't end up being stranded or being frustrated. The reason I'm saying all of this is because it's very hard to get a job as a student, and it's also very hard to get a job contract after your study. So please, please think about it. Think about it. Most of the not most of the time, the people that study visa actually favored more are the people that already have a family member living in that country. Because if you have a family member living in that country, if you get a job, a study visa, when you move here after studying, you can have a backup from your family member that is living in the country. So if you don't have a family member in the country where you want to apply your visa, maybe for example in Italy, I live in Italy. Please think about it very well. Think about it, because getting a job is not easy, and getting a job as a student is also not easy. And this is one of the reasons why I said on my previous video that before you come here as a student or as anything that will carry you come to Europe, before you move from the country where you live, make sure you learn something. Make sure you learn, you go into things, you learn hand works that will sustain you, work, construction, and all of the things I mentioned on that my video. Make sure you have something at hand. Don't just come here that you just want to go to university and study, because here in Italy, for example, I'm like I said Italy as example because this is the country I'm living in. Okay, here in Italy, office jobs are everywhere. Office jobs are full. Like there's a lot of people working in the office. So think about, do your survey, find out the things that people are not commonly doing, things that jobs that you can easily get, job that you can also get while you're studying. Okay. Another way you can stay here without, after your study, is to marry someone that is living in the country, marry a citizen of the country, or marry someone that is already a resident holder in the country. This is the only way. This is one of your escape goals if you don't get a job after while you're studying, or after you are done studying, if you don't want to go back to your country, to avoid being stranded. Another way is to get married to Italian, German, French, or whichever country you want to go to. Whichever country you are in. That is another way to get married. So getting married is something else, that another thing that will save you in the country if you don't want to go back to your original country after studying. So before you packed your bag, while you're arranging your document to apply for your study visa, please think about all this, because our people find themselves stranded on the streets of the country where they're moving, because they didn't plan their journey well. They only go for, oh, study visa, without having a plan B. Make sure you have a plan B, not to find yourself stranded in the country where you want to go to. Plan B is very, very important when it comes to study visa, especially when you don't have a family member living in that country for you. If you don't want to find yourself living on the street, if you don't want to find yourself being kicked out of the country by the government, especially in Italy here, Italy is becoming tough. Italy is no longer the Italy that you guys used to know. The new government are threatening a lot of things. The new laws are pouring out every day. So please, because I see a lot of people advising people about study visa in Italy and all of that. Please, I'm telling you, I'm begging you guys, make a plan B, have a plan B. What you're going to do as soon as you move here. And as soon as you move here, my advice is, as soon as you move here, while you're studying, CPR is a free school, is a free adult school. While you're studying, go and enroll into that CPR school while you're doing your studies. CPR, studying Italian language, is not all that difficult if you want to enroll there, because that will also help with basic language for you to be able to find a job as soon as you finish the your studying. Is very, very important. This is something that people don't really advise. I don't see many people that is talking about study visa, come to Italian study visa and all of that, talking about. They don't talk about you as you get your visa. As soon as you arrive in Italy, you settle. Please look for CPR. CPR is an adult education that is provided by the government for foreigners, especially foreigners. Okay, look for that school and enroll and start learning the language. This will help you as soon as you finish your study, as soon as you finish school, getting a job. You might find it difficult getting a job, but it will be more easy for you to integrate in the country. But if you focus only on your study, on your university program that you come after that, and you don't get a job, you don't find a boyfriend, you don't have a husband, and you don't have a family member, you will be stranded, and at the end of the day, you might end up being kicked out of the country, and that is not your plan, and that is not what you want. I'm saying this for those that don't have plan. I mean, that their intention is to stay in Europe or stay in the country where they are moving to study. So please have a plan B. And if you're moving to Italy, if you're coming to Italy as someone that is living here, please, your plan B, one of your plan B should be, as you're studying, you should also go to CPR and start studying Italian language. This way, as soon as you finish your study, you already know Italian basic, the basic language in Italy. You can use it to get a job, and also having a side hustle, having a hard work. That's something that you can provide to the government, something that will show that you really want to stay in this country. So please don't be one of those ones stranded. Don't all ask this question to whoever, to agent that is looking, that is helping you for your visa documents and all of that. That is why I keep saying the job offers are limited for students. And what the reason all of this thing I'm saying here, going back and front, that's because as a student, you don't really get that job, and black people don't own a lot of jobs that you say, like in the UK, that you can find a black person that will offer you a job, or in America, in Canada, and in Australia, that you can find black community that will offer you a job. If you're moving to Italy, Italy here precisely, black people don't really have enough, things that can offer to other. You can't go to Chinese and ask Chinese to offer you a job, or to Italians and all of that, and you don't even know how to speak the basic language. So please, job offers are limited for students. Sometimes you can't even work as a student studying in Italy. You're not allowed to work, and you have to struggle throughout your study time. Your family has to sustain you. But if you're lucky enough, you can still get someone that will employ you. Okay. And when you move here as someone that is studying and you're speaking English, even if you don't have Cambridge English certificate, go do some research on these professional schools. All of these professional schools, like a teacher school, a catering school, a hairdresser school, all of these professional school, sometimes they do find English. They are looking for a part-time English teachers in their school. You can look into it while you're studying. You can also be, doing some English teaching as a side hustle for yourself to sustain yourself in the country. And that will also help get you into the system, help you get to know the local. Don't run away from the locals when you move to Italy. Especially, I'm talking about Italy because that is where I live. Don't run away from the locals. I know that it can be hard because I have been living here for 10 years. Associating yourself with them can be hard. You can feel somehow there is some movement, there is some things that you might get irritated. But sometimes, need to overlook those irritation because you know your goal, you know what you want, you know why you're here. Sometimes you need to overlook those goals, even if you don't want to stay in Italy. But establishing yourself first in Italy before going to Spain or any other EU country is something that is very, very important. Don't have in mind that okay, I finished with Italy and I'm going to go to another country. These Europe EU countries are strengthening their laws, and they are very fast like this to deport people back, and you don't want to be one of them. You don't want your plan, the goals you have. If you don't want to go back to the country, to just be kicked out of the country, you don't want to go through that. So I think about all of this, learning the language, enrolling into CPR, that is a free school, free adult school when you move here as a student, and getting to know the locals, communicating, having a good conversation with the locals, with the teachers of the CPR, because sometimes people underestimate CPR. As a foreigner, most of the time the teachers in that CPR actually helps foreigners as well when it comes to job or giving you advice or giving you the right direction. Teachers in CPR do help foreigners a lot that are open-minded. Okay, so and getting yourself into CPR is another way to help you get to know the system, and they might help you. Who knows? So don't ignore going to Italian language school CPR when you come here with your Italian study visa, because it's still study visa. You're still allowed to learn the language. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. If you watched this part here, thank you for watching, and I'm going to see you guys there on my next one. God bless you all. Bye.